Lake Victoria. Facing ecological catastrophe. The question of no return. Lake Victoria was once called a gift that could never end. Its water looked endless. Its fish seemed infinite. Its size made people believe it could survive anything. But today, people along the shore whisper a new question. When does a lake stop being useful? When does water stop giving life and start carrying danger? Fishermen ask, why are fish disappearing? Farmers ask, why does lake water harm crops? Families ask, why is water that once quenched thirst now unsafe to drink? Scientists warn, there is a moment when damage becomes irreversible. A point of no return. The fear growing around Lake Victoria is simple and terrifying. Is the lake already at that point? How much time is left before it cannot be saved? Causes of collapse. Every day, millions of gallons of untreated sewage enter the lake. Not because people want to pollute, but because there is nowhere else for it to go. Rain washes fertilizers and pesticides from farms into the water. Farmers know chemicals harm the lake. But how can a poor farmer reduce fertilizer when a failed harvest means hunger? Plastic enters slowly, bags, bottles, wrappers. It breaks into microplastics. Who collects waste when cities grow faster than sanitation systems? Water hyacinth spreads across the surface. It blocks sunlight. It chokes oxygen below. And it grows fastest where the lake is weakest. So, is this pollution, or is the lake under pressure with no relief? Plans, power, and limits. Lake Victoria is one of the largest freshwater lakes on Earth. By surface area, it is the second largest lake in the world and the largest tropical lake. It covers 68,800 square kilometers. Its shoreline is 3,440 kilometers long. It sits 1,134 meters above sea level. 3 countries share this lake. Uganda, Tanzania and Kenya depends on Lake Victoria. Over 40 million lives are tied to this water. Have governments truly planned for its survival? The technology exists. Science exists. Rules exist. But do these countries have the money to build treatment plants? Strong institutions to enforce laws? Political will to act fast? Saving a lake is slow and expensive. If nations lack time, funds, or capacity, who will help? The same world that once took from the lake? Or a world too busy with its own crises? Blaming the poor solves nothing. Blaming the poor will not save Lake Victoria. A man unsure of tomorrow's meal cannot worry about tomorrow's water. A woman struggling to feed her children will use the lake in whatever way keeps them alive today. Poverty brings filth and trash. Not because people want dirt, but because poverty removes choices. If the lake is taken away, what options remain for millions living nearby? Where are jobs, land, and alternatives? Who will remove poverty from the lake before asking the poor to protect it? Should the lake be saved first, or the people? Will the free world step in when Africa is in need? Or will institutions like the African Union move beyond offices and statements to real vigilance on the ground? Waiting in despair is not a solution. Both the poor and the lake continue to sink together. Who exploited the lake first? Before survival pressures, the lake was exploited by design. A century ago, forests that protected soil were cleared for cotton and coffee plantations. Railways and ports were built. Wealth flowed out. The lake bore the burden. It survived that century of pressure. But will it survive another? Lake Victoria became one of the most exploited lakes on Earth. Not by accident, but by power and profit. Will those who benefited ever repair the damage? Will former colonizers offer compensation? Will institutions like the World Bank and IMF provide help without interest? Or will history repeat itself, asking the lake and its people to pay once again? Death and disease on the lake. Every year, Lake Victoria takes human lives. Not because people want to die, but because they have no choice. Thousands of fishermen go onto the lake in old, weak, and overloaded boats. They cannot afford better ones. Storms rise suddenly, without warning. The lake turns violent in minutes. Boats capsize, men disappear into the water, many never return. Along the shores, disease never sleeps. Polluted water spreads cholera, malaria, bilharzia, and diarrhea all year round. Children drink unsafe water, women wash, cook, and bathe in it. Sickness moves from house to house. Deaths here are quiet, there are no headlines, only graves, widows, and hungry children. The lake feeds millions, but it also buries thousands. The lake before it was taken. Long before it was called Lake Victoria, it had its own names and glory. To the Luo, it was Nam Lowa, the endless lake. To the Baganda, it was Nalyabali, the home of the gods. The lake was clear, deep, and full of oxygen. Wetlands filtered dirt naturally. Hundreds of fish species thrived. Fishing followed seasons, not markets. Life was in balance. The lake was not owned, not rushed, not exhausted. Its past glory was more than size. It was harmony. Climate change and the last safety net. So far, rainfall has been the lake's silent protector. Regular rains dilute pollution and refill water levels. But climate change is weakening this safety net. Rainfall is unpredictable. Dry seasons are longer. Storms are sudden. Temperatures are rising. If rains fail for a few years, the lake will not recover. Water levels drop. Pollution concentrates. Oxygen disappears. Fish die. Sewage and farm chemicals grow more dangerous in shallow water. There is no plan B big enough to replace rainfall for a lake this size. A few years of drought could push it past recovery. Time to act before it's too late. Now is the time to save Lake Victoria, before it reaches the point of no return. Forests around the lake must be restored. They act as natural filters, protecting water and soil. New wetlands can absorb pollution. Communities in vulnerable areas need support, new jobs, safer housing, and opportunities beyond fishing and small farms. Agriculture must modernize. Less fertilizer, less water, higher yield. Innovation, planning, and investment must come together. Saving the lake is saving the people. Delay will make recovery slower, costlier, maybe impossible. Lessons from a world of lost lakes. The world has already lost countless lakes. Some dried completely. Others became poisoned beyond repair. Every loss carried human and ecological costs: lost fish, vanished wetlands, collapsing communities. Africa cannot afford the same mistakes. Lake Victoria is too important. Too alive. Too central to millions of lives. Protecting it is not only local, it is continental. What happens here will set an example for all of Africa. If the lake dies, it is not only water that is lost. It is food, jobs, culture, and hope. The warning is clear: lessons from the world's lost lakes must guide urgent action now.